Welcome to Imagine 2019. I'm your MC Swati Sharma, and we start with the knowledge sessions. First thing first, the safety part. In case of any emergency, do not panic. The entry gate is the exit gate, so that will be our fire exit as well. And in case of taking any pictures or any videos, whatever views that come to your mind, whatever feedback you have, you can share it on your virtual platform, your Twitter, Facebook, Instagram with the hashtag EEMA and hashtag Imagine 2019. Also, meanwhile, the session goes on, we have to keep our mobile phones on silent mode. Everyone's mobile phone on silent mode? Yeah? 1,000 rupees penalty for those who don't have it on silent. Okay. So, yeah? It's a money making panel. See? I'm in the zone. Yes. All right. And everybody, I urge everybody to keep Imagine a green, zero waste convention. I'd like to thank our partners. Our key partner, Event FAQS Media. Our official hotel, Pullman Hotels and Resorts, New Delhi Aerocity. Our official partners, Orange Productions, Modern State Service, Yellow Rentals. Beverage partners, Jack Daniels, Carlsbergs. Registration partner, Event Bot. Conference app partner, The Key. Internet streaming partner, WebPix. Technology engagement partner, SEES and Hub. VR partner, Interreality, extending the real. Touchscreen partner, TechWorks, making technology work for you. Superstructure partner, Rama Tent House. Beverages service partner, Bar Solutions LLP. Photography and video coverage partner, The Wedding Premiere by G Films, Sumit Productions, Stimulus to Still. Ground transportation partner, Asian Cars, Coaches and Care. Security partner, Everytime Secure Services, we secure your world. Special structure, Cube Truss. 3D sculpting support by Model Artisan. Trophy partner, The Award Gallery. Catering partner, Fork and Spoon, Purpleberry Catering by Rahul Makkar. Media partners, Eventa.com, BW Applause, Everything Experiential, Wedding Affair, Wedding TV. Hospitality partner, Amigos Alliance, Heading Wedding. Beverages service partner, IFCS, Indo-Fusion Cocktail Services. Kehte hain sabr ka phal meetha hota hai. Thank you for your patience. Put your hands together for all our partners. So now we get to the fun part. We finally... Yeah, so I think you can take some cue from the long list we have here. So we are so lucky to have all these amazing partners. Everybody, we are here today for the name of the game, Expanding Business Opportunities session. And here we'll be exploring new opportunities for expansion for the event industry. Today's session will be moderated by Vice President West EEMA, the lady who is also the founder and managing director of Maximus Mice and Media Solutions, a decade-old global award-winning agency with a network of over 500 corporate clients spread across every continent and a repertoire of over 1,000 events. And she has been part of several initiatives such as We Care, Gyan Cafe. She's most well known for co-founding Pinkathon with Milind Soman and awarded several awards such as the MICE Future Leader of the Year Award and Femina Women Leadership Award, our moderator for the session. Our panelists, we have with us Professor Ujjwal K. Chowdhury, currently Pro Vice Chancellor and Dean, School of Media, Communication and Fashion of Kolkata-based Adamas University, is a leading media and communication academic of India. Welcome, sir. Our panelist, Mr. Jonathan Kennedy, Director, Arts India, British Council. Mr. Jonathan has joined the British Council in February 2019, so still quite fresh, getting used to the Indian food, I guess. Jonathan is an acknowledged leader with substantial experience in theatre producing, arts management, and international cultural exchange. Mr. Jonathan. Our next panelist is also has been the member of jury for EEMAGINE. We have with us Mr. Rahul Dutta, who is the head of marketing for printers at HP India, and he was formerly the India lead for Xbox at Microsoft. He is seasoned marketeer with 17 years of experience in the managing lifestyle tech brands like Tata, Microsoft, Xbox, and HP. Mr. Rahul Dutta. And another one of our panelists has been the jury member. Please help me in welcoming the leading BMW strategist in topics like BMW AG and other partners, Vision 2020, India market strategy, fight back strategy. He's the team leader of marketing strategy, budgeting events and sponsorship, BMW India, Karan Chowdhury. So everybody, I would now like to give it over to our moderator, Reema Sanghavi.
Deepak, click good pictures. And for the guy who asked the best question here gets a BMW. Yeah? And there's been a latest launch. When was the latest launch, Karan? Last week. And which car did you launch?
X7 and the 7.
Can we have some more mics here so that I'm doing this?
I think we should be audible without mics. Yeah. Okay. We'll use it? Okay.
Okay, so now we have a BMW. Do you want to get more people in there?
I can go.
Okay. Anyway, so this is going to be, but we're going to make it a little more fun and enjoyable along with giving you lots of gyan about getting a lot of money from a few people that I realize here are to distribute money here. But I think, yeah, and he's the man, right? So in case of fire, you know which lap to fall onto. Don't run out of that door. Just this is the man to go to. But you know, the fundamental truth is that over the past few years, we've been realizing that the consumer is really getting more and more powerful. And, this is happening, and one of the things that we're realizing through this is that, sense of unity and community and the sense of ethics is driving this whole power. And, events are in the center of it all. So, the experiential industry is bound to grow leaps and bounds from here. And I think that some of our questions are going to revolve around here. And I start with the education sectors to Ujjwal. Please enlighten us as to what are the opportunities in the education world that you currently have to offer for the space of experiential industry.
Traditionally, education marketing has been focusing more on media, print media more particularly. But in recent times, they've understood, and research has shown that the ROI on print media's campaigns have been far lower than what it has been in digital and experiential. Digital, yes, awareness is created, the brand is known, but the feel of the brand doesn't come unless there is an experiential factor. So as a case study, I would like to say, and because Navneet is here, who headed this particular experiential thing. So in Symbiosis, when I was dean in Symbiosis, and director of the media college, in the year 2000, which was the millennium year, we launched a concept. We wanted to do something which would connect to a large number of youths, not in Pune only, where Symbiosis is located, but across the country. And that's how we came out with the concept called Footprints. Footprints, I must congratulate Navneet and his batch to have really taken up 21 cities. 110 or 108 students spread across 21 cities to organize a program. I do not remember the figures just now. Should have been much more than 5,000 youths who participate across all these knowledge events. And to the effect that even education ministers and they had come to open it. So that's one thing. And today, that's 2000, this is much later, 2019. It's very clear that the understanding of an education brand is far better when people meet face to face. It's not just through the digital. The brand is known digitally. And print has a very limited role. So, in fact, print rides the digital in that sense. So that's one major point. The second point I'd like to bring forth, and that was one of the things we were chatting up earlier, the education of experiential marketing has been very low. Someone had been, both of you have been talking about that, has been very low. There is not a single MBA degree to my knowledge. If there is, please enlighten me. To my knowledge, which is titled as MBA Events and Experiential Marketing. There's not a single. There's marketing management, dime a dozen everywhere, but MBA Events and Experiential Marketing. There are 6 months diplomas. When I was Dean of Pearl Academy, another institute, we started a PG diploma in Events and Experiential Marketing. The first batch is already studying now. Now we intend, in the university that I've joined recently as Pro-Vice Chancellor, so now we are intending to bring from 2020, in partnership with EEMA, a course called MBA Events and Experiential Marketing. So that would give, so education division, education sector would be doing a lot of events like annual fairs and several other, meet the dean, meet the vice chancellor sort of events, city-based road shows, they will be doing. But the volume of business there for you may not be great. But it could be when there is a series of 20 cities or 15 cities, it could be. And education institutes also want their students to be involved directly, not just being done by event management companies, because that's a part of their learning as well. And Navneet can tell that very strongly because he headed the team that organized footprints long back, starting from Kochi, bottom of the country, and up to Srinagar. So the point what I'm trying to say is that this education sector can contribute to the human resources, because your human resource many a time are largely people who come through references, not necessarily educated. They are not even equipped to make a budget, for example, or a Dhasu PowerPoint presentation for the client for pitching in, or a video. So they're not. So it could be, they may not be able to understand a lot of nuances at the beginning of the career, but certain techniques should be there, known. Many of the students who study typical MBA does not even know very basic technologies that you use. Very basic technologies that you use on sound and light and many others. So they're just dependent on others. So why not have a proper education? So our contribution shall be in the form of good trained human resources in partnership with you, so that only the fundamentals are taught by the academicians, but every case study, every real application are taught by people who do it, who practice it. So that's all for the first round. We can.
I think this is a huge round of applause to EEMA, who is going to come together with them to develop something like this. And this is a human resource. I think all of you here will agree with me, is one of our pain areas in the world of event management. And if this is going to come through for us, it's a blessing. Right, Jonathan, in your world, the British Council guy is presenting to you. So, please tell us what are the opportunities available for the experiential industry.
Sure. Well, I'm still getting my head around what those will become, given that I only moved to India in March of this year. So I'm still learning the territory of arts and culture in India, because that's primarily my area. In my current post with the British Council. But we have 2 programs that will be running for at least the next 3 years. And they tap into what is absolutely self-evident from my short time in India, which is the spirit of the entrepreneur. And that in that spirit of entrepreneurship, creativity is absolutely fundamental in order to be able to turn an idea into a reality. And if, as we're in the virtual presence of Sanjoy August isn't in the room, but if I talk about how 20 years plus back, Sanjoy was part of a program that the British Council was running then around festivals, and that was instrumental in helping shaping some of the thinking on what we now know in India as JLF as a global brand. JLF in Jaipur is just one of, I think, around 20 plus editions of the festival now. And whilst we were there at the very early days, and Teamwork Arts is growing and is vast and works across all territories and across all of the world, we were a small part of those early days. But we're not going to overclaim that now. Nevertheless, we also now see how its work in terms of democratizing literature as part of India and as part of its work internationally, is still hugely relevant. So in June of this year, British Council in Northern Ireland supported JLF in its first edition in Belfast, where the narrative connections across one of the key speakers who travelled from India, who was Tara Bhattacharjee Gandhi, the granddaughter, I should say, of Gandhi, went in her mid-80s on long-haul flight to Belfast to speak at the Seamus Heaney Centre around non-violence, faith, independence, partition, which is an entirely relevant story to Northern Ireland and Ireland as a whole still today, given the conflict around Protestantism, Catholicism. The story transcends our nations. Care of that individual whose integrity in her story is part of that narrative. So why JLF is important to British Council is absolutely integral to why JLF happened to be in Belfast as part of our current work now. So there's a history of festivals in our work, and now over the coming 3 years, a part of a programme for Festivals for the Future, we're looking at the festivals who are in their inception, less than 5 years of age, and how we can support them to become the JLF 20 years' time. So we're working with emerging festivals who are in their 5-year infancy and supporting them in really practical training in business planning, marketing, finance, fundraising, co-collaboration, curation, using some UK expertise to help support that, and then using expertise in terms of the festivals already in India that are abundant. We've mapped around 800 festivals across the country just in our first few months, 8 of which are initiative festivals. It's a huge growth area, and then we want to just enable that to sustain. So that's one of the areas that we can help across British Council's current work. I'll come on to other things later, but that's a start.
Okay. So how many years have you been associating with the JLF?
Since 2006.
2006, and the relationship has grown only bigger.
But really, we started at the early days, and now really JLF doesn't need us. We're just there to help tell the wider story of JLF.
Fantastic. But what comes out of this is that any new festivals in the space of literature and art, British Council is happy to look at those festivals and help those festivals grow bigger and bigger. And so anybody here that, like I said, Jonathan's the man with money. I come to you, Karan, and we discussed how BMW in the luxury car segment is a pioneer. But how are you expanding opportunities for the experiential industry for us?
Thank you, Reema. So before I get into what we're really doing, I'd actually like to throw some figures of what our take on experiential is. I look after experiential, and coincidentally I also look after budget. So I can actually proudly say, in today's time when digital is taking over everything, BMW in India is spending 50% of his marketing spend at experiential, right? Of course there are different verticals within experiential that we target, but clear 50% of our spends are going into experiential marketing, which clearly indicates our focus and the importance of experiential in our lives. Secondly, another figure, ultimately ROI is what we all talk about, and everybody's again going back to digital. I can actually make this claim that our digital ROIs and our on-ground ROIs are at the same level as on yesterday, at 7% conversions. So that's actually a big achievement, right? And as far as expansion is concerned, budget speaks a lot for itself. We are currently at about, as BMW India are at about 250 man days of experiential activations across about 18 towns. We are unlocking potential for luxury car markets in tier 2, tier 3. So that's our next step, because that's actually, those are print heavy markets, right? Like we say, print is deteriorating, but we still feel tier 2, tier 3 are print led. But I think what we need them, we're selling passion. So we need them to feel, touch, passion, right? I think BMW is the only luxury car which is actually selling the core of driving, right? We're not selling comfort. We're selling a drive experience, right? So for us, it is extremely important for the consumer to touch and feel it. And you know, one thing which Reema and I also discussed, that because again, everything is so digital, where you're not meeting your consumers. Our consumers are not coming to our showrooms. They're not talking to us. So what is the opportunity to meet them, talk to them, are these experiential opportunities, right? And that's why our focus remains here. We don't take away what we need to do online, because we only touch a very few people through experiences, and that's where we've taken a twist on the marketing formula of 1, 9, 90, where content is 1 and 9 people engage with you and 90 who consume it. But for us, it's creating one idea, engaging with 9 people, but actually also developing content for 90. So we are balancing both. We are focused on experiential as well as digital, but I think for me, digital is an offshoot of experiences at the end of it. You have to create an experience on ground for it to go viral, as we all call it always. So yeah, that's something from my side.
So Karan, very insightful on the 1990. Are the agencies delivering to 1990?
So I wouldn't say that this is something. This is actually very new from our side that we are approaching, because earlier we weren't very focused. Our digital campaigns ran separately, and on ground, campaigns ran separately. But we've decided that I think the content and that we will get out of an experience will be way higher than a content that we will create sitting on a computer, right? The real content is here. So we've started it in a couple of our last discussions with our partners. We have seen great ideas, and I think in the next 20 days, we have something really big coming up, the biggest for us for this year, and that's actually going to translate 1990 from a approach perspective and 1:10 even from a spend perspective. If we are going to spend 1 on ground, we will spend 10 online, but that 10 doesn't come out of the pie of 1. We'll increase our pie there if you have to spend more, but the spend on ground will remain constant.
Karan, you're truly music to our ears, isn't he? Like, wow, he's got 250 events. He's got, he's understanding us. He's got, he's not cutting down on event budgets. He's increasing his digital spends. But why do we get to hear that Otto is going through the worst phase of his lifetime, and Otto does not have money, and Otto? So what is this one?
So I can't say why do you get to hear, because that is the truth. That is it's the worst time I would say in history for auto, especially for actually all of us, 2-wheelers, 4-wheelers, and we are not making money. It is a fact, but that does not mean that we're going to stop doing what we're supposed to, right?
Absolutely. So I just want to understand: has there been a huge cut in your marketing spends? Given the fact.
As on yesterday, I can quote a figure of 1.5 million euros.
We love him.
As on yesterday.
But that's spread across 250 events, and yeah.
There's a cut.
Oh, there's a cut.
Yes,
Oh, I'm so sorry. I
cut.
thought it was a. Yeah. I thought it was the. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, but it really depends. Yeah, it's about 10 to 12 crores, but it's a total budget cut for BMW India, and then we decide.
Percentage. So what kind of percentage cut has been there?
Overall, about this is the second cut of the year, so we've already got one in the beginning. So overall, we're at about 8 to 10% in the middle of it.
That's fair. Then that's fair. So then you still have a huge
But
budget.
that's also because that's not because of the auto sector currently. It's also because BMW's global investments in electric and autonomous driving are are very, very high. So just it's the focus which is on autonomous and electric, which is the reason everybody's, you know, contributing to that.
Fantastic, fantastic. Coming to you, Rahul. Please give us more insight into what HP is doing now in the experiential world for us.
So I think I'm representing the IT sector, the tech sector. There are two things I like to share with you guys. And I think those two things you'll apply to any tech company and that'll work for you as a business. You apply to Google, Microsoft, HP, Dell, XYZ, whatever the tech industry is, right? Number one, I think, is the fact that, like Karan said, that, you know, we were all on the front runner of the IT, you know, revolution, and then let's spend all the money on digital, YouTube, let's go down there, influencers, XYZ, right? So all the digital mumbo jumbo that we were kind of trying to do down there. But I think one of the core factors where where event agency can play a role is about digital convergence. If you see any of the product launch, it's only the client and the event agency who's just speaking to everyone. PR agency, social agency, X agency, Y agency, right? They are the ones who are kind of working on it. But why only an event? Why not in creating ideas which basically truly converge? You guys are at the position where you have the expertise of, like, you're the guys for a client which is ho jayega, right? You're the guys, go-to guys for a client, right? So I think that gives you a power if you expand your horizon a little bit. I think the convergence where you create something which can go online is something which is very important. We are trying to do that. All our events are being termed for a larger audience, like Karan said. He has a theory of 1990. We start creating an event from a perspective of what will go down and what will be the audience, a larger audience on social will like to see. And then we'll go down and then do other stuff. If you see all good events, they are just part of the good content. Tomorrowland or TEDx, right? All are content-based programs which are not only just consumed by 1,000 people sitting there, but about tens and thousands and millions of people across the board. So I think one thing which tech industry really needs is, because technology is something you can't just talk about. You just need to show it, experience it, you know, see the output of it. So I think that's one area where if you guys can come in and then bring in that holistic approach proactively, tech industry is waiting for that. That's one piece. And I think the second most important part is that, you know, all the big corporations in the tech industry are divided into three parts. You guys are either not proactively working towards it or just leaving it empty right now for other people to kind of take care of it. So the three departments are enterprise, SMB, consumer. You guys are very strong in consumer, right? But I think enterprise and SMB is right now just left to some exhibition and some annual events, and that's about it. Great opportunity for you, because let me tell you, in tech industry itself, SMB, which is micro, is a new consumer. That's where the maximum money is. Everybody's going after that, right? You say Google, Microsoft, HP, all the hardware companies, they're all going after the SMB. Guess what? Nobody knows the formula to reach out to them, the way that we used to consumers, right? So if you can crack that and reach to our IT industry, I think that'll be another good win for you. We are trying that in some form of the factors, where we know that let's integrate the power of media and events together. So for example, we've recently launched a new printer, which is revolution and laser technology, meant for micro businesses. Now, how do I reach out to the micro businesses and tell them that I've got a new printer launch that was there? So we've partnered with all the magazines which are there for that particular audience. We've partnered with Elle, Economic Times, Franchise India, right? All verticals which are very important for us from a printing perspective, and asked them to get their patrons there, right? We created a launch where it was not just about the printer launch, but also about their daily issues. So it given us a platform to launch. It was like a TEDx for SMB, right? So it gave us a platform to launch, but it also gave us a lot of content that we've then posted online, and then as a part of that also shown our launch. So I think SMB is a great opportunity for you guys. You know, we've done another launch with architects, we've done another launch with, so, you know, the SMB, either as a large community or a focused community, is a big opportunity. So those are the two things.
Coming up to that, you know, when you say that, you know, there's so many opportunities, there are agencies also who are now, you know, who probably have been working with you and now have moved into allied functions, are developing allied functions, for example, their own production units, their own content producing units. Are you going to trust the same agency to do that? Are you looking for a 360-degree solution? You know, are you or are you not? And I would like a couple of you to answer that for me, that are you still looking at, you know, should we make those kind of investments, or you would like to have the agency as just the agency as what they're doing for you?
I think any client will not like to work with multiple agencies. It's a nightmare and a pain for them. It's a headache for them, right? So I think what you guys, rather than, you guys are back investing, like back integrating in terms of having your own production house in X and a Y. I think the forward integration is where you see, okay, what are the, I'll not say you become a social agency, but you should have, and that's where I think what we were discussing, the core idea belongs to, the core concept belongs to the idea. If the idea is good enough, other things, it's then becomes a thing of, you know, the best suppliers, and that's available to everyone, right? Sure. And how you work towards that. You don't need to be a content creator. You don't need to be a filmmaker. What you need to do is, for example, Pinkathon is a great example, right? It's India's first marathon for women, right? And it has a great cause attached to it. So what you create is a core concept around which the event is, but then you'll have influencers, digital media, X, Y, Z. So it's another way of then working towards that. But I think for that, one of the things that I see, and we see in pitches most of the times, is understand the business of your client. Understand, do that from that perspective. Go to their websites, LinkedIn profiles, X, Y, Z. Understand before your pitch what you're exactly kind of trying to do. You might have a great, beautiful looking design, but the concept at the end of the day is that, okay, we need to reach out to an X and a Y number of audience and how we do it. So I think it's just the balance of, like you said, if it's a good idea, invest in creative people who can get you good ideas and concepts. And I think that's more important.
And you would look at a 360-degree solution.
Absolutely.
Karan, what's your take on that one?
So, don't get me wrong.
Look at Ankur, he already knows your answer. What's going on here?
Conceptually, I think what you call it a one-stop shop is a great idea conceptually, but I feel in today's time it's all about partnerships and alliances. It is about, I don't feel the need of an experiential agency to invest in people on social or digital. You have enough and more experts in the market. You've got your core right. You've built that core over years, and because of what you do, you have enough and more partners around you wanting to work with you. You've been working with a certain brand, you understand that brand. So I think the power of partnerships and alliances with the right experts in the market is also financially feasible, as well as you get a lot more minds together to achieve one goal.
So it's financially feasible for maybe the agency, but is it financially feasible for the brand?
I think
it's really not, because we are going to outsource this to someone over which we are going to charge you a fee, and then we're going to come back. So it's probably not the best solution for you. That is why we built in-house resources.
I don't think so.
Here?
There is enough and more. The sad part about this is that we don't value man hours in experiential.
But it is true.
Right? So if you consider it that way, then no. But the time, the effort you put into hiring, nurturing, planning somebody's career is as expensive as a 10% or a 12%.
We really love it because you're talking from our point of view. No, but once again, I'm talking from your point of view.
I'm absolutely talking from my point of view. Yeah. I still get the better off on that project or on that concept from experts, because the moment you have everybody working together, I feel there's one leader or two leaders who think in one direction. It's very difficult for an individual to think in multiple directions working on a certain concept. So if you have true experts working together, then you get the best of the world.
Ujjwal, can we just have Ujjwal give his views on this?
In management academics, we keep talking about SWOT analysis. Everyone has done that: strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. And then we say that you should focus on the weaknesses to get out of it. But there's another thought. Why to focus on the weaknesses at all? Why not focus on the strengths and make it super strong things? So go so deep that nobody can excel you on that. And for the weaknesses, there are experts. you can tie up with. So in a way, in today's world, when quality matters, particularly where a huge quantity of things to be done, I understand the first point, that have your in-house guys to do that. But when quality matters, when expertise matters, it's better to invest, to go deeper into something than do everything. And perhaps make alliances with those who are also expert in those areas where we are weak. That's just a suggestion.
Sure. Jonathan, you have a view on that? No, you're going to skip that.
Not
We're
wholly,
going to come
not
to
wholly.
another one
But
that.
I,
oh,
I,
sure.
I'm just thinking, because I have had various conversations about with people I've been meeting over the past few weeks. What's Britain's greatest international export? And I'm thinking Shakespeare, I'm thinking culture, James Bond maybe. The answer was Peppa Pig. But I tell you, Peppa Pig is an example of what you're kind of describing. Because it started in the UK as a watch with mother 5-minute little education cartoon. It's now a global phenomenon. It's licensed and sold all over the world. It's a huge event performance in the UK that fills out stadiums of families to come and see it. It's books, it's merchandise. So actually, when you think, what do the creative industries offer by way of what was originally a 5-minute cartoon for educating your children, it's actually part of what we are describing.
Which is true. Which is so true. We even have a Peppa Pig land now. So imagine where we've reached with Peppa Pig. But Jonathan, the next question for you is that, you spoke to me about, and you left me, guessing on what is sequence cinema.
Okay.
Does anybody know sequence cinema here? So Jonathan here is going to throw
Yeah.
some light on
Yeah,
sequence
so
cinema.
Secret cinema is something that started in London 3 or 4 years back. And again, it's taking the idea of going into a darkened room to watch a film and turning it into an experience that is interactive, engaging, and of scale. And the scale I know in India is very different in terms of scale in the UK. But so now that the experience of going to see a secret cinema event is several thousand young people at any one time. So the secret cinema took the idea of making a film interactive. So they've done Moulin Rouge, they've done Star Wars, they've done Casino Royale of late, where you apply to go with no idea where you're going to be sent to with your ticket. You're then sent a casting, and you may be cast as somebody in the casino, somebody on the beach in wherever it is, and then you're told to dress accordingly. You're given your personality and your character, and you turn up in role, and then there will be the whole film reenacted, but you are part of that performance. And that's taking the idea, very similar perhaps to how you're using the cars, but thinking how you can pursue this in terms of using the cultural phenomenon of the films and making them alive and interactive.
So engagement. I think engagement is the new
And it
word.
kind of immerses you into the world of the film because you become part of it.
Absolutely. It's fantastic. And Ujjwal, you had
Research
done on
So
experiential management.
When Sanjay had written that,
That was my question.
no, because we discussed it. When Sanjay had written that I'm supposed to come and talk in this panel, I did a dipstick of some 30, 40 people who are in event management, some in media, some in academics, largely in experiential marketing. So a good number of suggestions came up. What can be done to expand business opportunity? First, there was a good number of points coming on legal status and industry status. So you have this small Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises, MSME. So registering in MSME, registering in Niti Aayog leads to certain benefits in banking, finance, and certain other schemes that they brought. Some of the things they explained also, I'm not getting into that to save time. So the point is that this sort of registration, events industry of this country are not all Teamwork Arts or Maximus or for the Wizcraft and all. They're large. They're usually below 50 crores turnover, below 100 crores turnover, which are SME. So why not go the formal SME route? That's point one. Point two, approach change. Many people said And that's one of this thing has already come. From experiential marketing to multimedia or convergent marketing, this point has already come. Can we have events which necessarily bring in a component of televising or live streaming, e-events or audience experiences, both online and offline, brought together, done by the event management company itself or in alliances with others, whatever. Third thing, suggestion came was on IP creation. So IP, large IP or medium IP or small IP. IP is like a child. And when you have intellectual property of an event, means it's your child. So there are IP specialists, I know, like for example, Event Capital. And then there are manager specialists who manage events for others. But one of the ideas was, if you can have one IP at least everyone, which creates earned media, because the IP content has to be good enough to be covered, paid media, you pay for it, and owned media, you create some media. The third point was HR overhaul, but I think we have talked about the HR part earlier, so I'll leave it. Internal institutionalization, this was the biggest number of suggestions. So do's and don'ts for avoiding price cutting, vendor management, counter pitches, and payment schedules, delays and all. So there has to be certain do's and don'ts, and EEMA or as an organization has to take lead. And you know, ad agencies have done that quite effectively. I don't know how much PR agencies have done, but ad agencies have brought together their pain points together to create a collective bargaining power vis-a-vis the nasty clients on the other side and many others. So can the events company also plan to do that? So large event companies hand-holding smaller ones, and research. Okay, let me just tell this. From FICCI frames to any speech on event or any seminar on events, people have moved from 10,000 crores industry to 50,000 crores industry. I just heard Brian telling 17% growth last year, year-on-year growth. I still do not know what's the size of the industry. So case studies, global best practices, reports and films, MDPs, Management Development Program in Events, unheard in India. MDPs. Now, we do MDPs in marketing, we do MDPs in HR, in tech management a lot, in crisis communication, many things, but in experiential marketing. So as an university, we can also support the efforts. There could be many other institutes who can do that, but research at the secretariat level is required. Global expansion. Now this might be, I think there's a panel on global expansion. NRI PIO route is a major route for global expansion, which the Jaipur Literary Festival has taken advantage of. The government and international bodies route, which, for example, this IFA has taken a big, I mean, they're trying to do it in Nepal. JLF again. And IFA is trying to do it in Nepal. And they have asked for 45 crores from the Nepalese government, and there's a big debate happening on Twitter, big debate happening between the government people and the citizens there. Anyway, so but that's a big route. The collaboration with foreign companies, we know that, and we have an advantage, human resource advantage and price advantage. Taking help of this, can we expand? Some of the points that I got from interacting with people, I thought that I'll take 5 minutes to just share with them.
But these were amazing. I think how many agencies here are registered with an MSME? But do we, so one fine day we got a diktat saying let's register with MSME, but nobody understood what MSME was all about. There is an entire MSME Mela that is happening here. There's disbursal, yeah, so please do visit that. There's disbursal of loans happening, and since we did the MSME forum, there have been, I think, about 4 agencies who already the loans of those people have been sanctioned. I don't know if I was supposed to say this on camera, but I have now. So yeah, so please take advantage of these things that are happening, and you know, you said so many points that I probably have forgotten, but they were amazing.
Even
and
Niti Aayog registration is very good. Then getting government projects is nowadays almost impossible unless you have under the table deals or political connections. One, the other legal is Niti Aayog. So its registration there is also very significant. So you have
that you can register your IP as well with Niti Aayog, and then there is, you know, as much as 10,000 rupees, and you register, your registration goes through. So please go to that Mela and
nobody can even replicate that IP. So this slogan, I'll just say that integrate, inspire, innovate. Integrate as an industry, do's and don'ts, and price cutting, avoiding, and certain things. Integrate as an industry. Innovate as an organization. So certain skill sets within the organization, registration with the government and banking authorities and all, and inspire the audiences. Because many a time I find the work is just complete the task. No. At the end of it, even if the task was not done well, it's okay, provided people were inspired.
Absolutely. I think one of the slogans that we live by is live to inspire. Yeah. So here is, I mean, are we out of time by any chance? Because no, right? Okay, good. Because there's, I just want to know, just to understand the psyche of our panelists, I want to understand what are your buzzwords for experiential management, starting from you, Ujjwal.
He has taken the buzzword.
Which is the
He
buzzword?
said digital convergence, I was telling communication convergence.
Digital convergence.
Communication convergence, I will tell. Beyond digital also. Yeah.
Mine was immersion.
Immersion.
Immersion. Because you're
Immersion.
immersed in the experience.
Creativity and immersion, I think, for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it'll be data.
I'll
Great.
stick to digital convergence because that's, if I see media mix, that's your #1 competition within a client's budget. That's one thing that, and if you integrate with that, you take a lead, I think that's going to help.
I think most of us are realizing that digital is the way ahead, but again, there is BMW right here who's spending equal amount on digital and touch and feel. So there are various segments that are going to relate to various different necessities. For example, luxury is going to look at experiential plus digital. Just a couple of things that, do we have about 10 minutes for questions with the audience? Yes? Okay, go on, Swati. So can we just have I'll throw this open to the public and we will then finally do a roundup. We have only 2 mics here. Can we have some more mics? Okay, so take my mic so that the panelists can answer.
Who gets the first question? You know BMW is still there for the best. The best question.
BMW is degrowing.
It might just be just an image of a BMW. It is. So do you have a question? So let's go with the first question. Who goes with the first question? Who wants to ask the first question? Curiosity. Einstein once said, "I am no genius. I'm just passionately curious." So curiosity is very, very important.
Or even comment.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, this is for Professor UKC. So, you said about the post-graduation event management. See, my biggest challenge, I mean, ever since I passed out as a communication management, Karan's done pretty much the same course. As we go super focused, what also happens with the talent, like there's a lot of talent that over years we've recruited from Symbiosis and other institutes, as well as event management, whatever, graduation, post-graduation, whatever. The fact is, in the long run, what we're figuring out is, unfortunately, they've not got exposed to the larger perspective of marketing. It gets so specific. Now, today, you don't need, after a point, to learn as a business guy. If you today, I mean, there was a point of time when I was getting into the console, understanding technical. I don't need to understand where the plug goes into the other. There are enough or more talent available for it. Isn't it a problem, rather than giving holistic training, because that's ultimately you have to sit across any of these guys on the other side and have a conversation on the brand, understand the brand and where you fit in the overall scheme of things. So my perspective on this is trying to super specialize into event management MBA. I feel that it's a perspective, and I want you to comment, that it's going to backfire eventually, because they will come out so specific into that they will not understand where you belong in because you need to have a much larger understanding. So what's your take on that whole perspective?
Very good question, and it's a food for thought. When I was Dean of Pearl Academy, we were approached by Vipul's team here, not Vice President, that let's have a postgraduate diploma, because as Pearl Academy, we are not university, so we could not give a degree. And it was decided for 1-year postgraduate diploma, focused only on events and experiential marketing. So that was the thing. But I did think on this exact issue that you brought to the notice of everyone. And at Adamas in 2020, now we are launching 2 years MBA in events and experiential marketing, where the first year is common marketing, all aspects of marketing. And when we say all aspects of marketing, it doesn't only talk about traditional MBA marketing, it also talks about MarCom, marketing communication, and creating content through MarCom. So designing, making short films, basics of it are also taught there. So in second year, when we come, there we focus on events and experiential, like festival management he was talking, could be, is one paper. A festival management itself is one paper. Art and culture management is one paper. And MICE is a big paper, or a couple of papers rather. So we look at the experiential part of it in the second year when the broad base is already created. So it's a broad base at the bottom, and a narrow focus at the top. So that's the point.
Okay, my question is for Karan and for BMW and HP here. So, Karan and Rahul, I'm sorry. So, you know, both of you handle a lot of agencies, I'm sure, and it's very difficult for new experiential agencies to get into companies like BMW and HP. What are the criteria that you guys see when a new agency approaches you, and do you actually experiment with experiential agencies, or you know, do you just choose an agency and that is the status for a few years? And it's a very serious, I mean, I'm not making a pitch here, I'm asking for the benefit of the house. What are the top 2 or 3 things that you see when you select a new agency? And I'd like both of you to answer this separately. That should be, that is how they should pitch themselves to get into your organizations. Guys, do I speak for all? Is that? Yeah. Thank you.
One word answer to that is L1, lowest cost.
Is that the first thing? No, Karan, I don't agree.
Let me clear.
I have pitched to you and I don't agree with that.
No, but
especially to BMW, L1, I think happens, that is probably number 3.
No. So I'll correct,
Please correct yourself.
So I know, I think I was pitching against you for the same project from the agency. 3 years back we're talking about, right? I think from a BMW standpoint, one thing is very clear, that we don't look at an empanelment process. We can work and get any partner to pitch for any project. So there is no empanelment process as such. So number 2, it's a global mandate. It's a global mandate that there are, I'm going to talk entire processes inside, right? Why did I say L1? When you don't work with, so how it happens is you have a longer list that you pitch to, then you technically qualify top 3 or 4 partners out of the long list, and then the procurement takes over. The final decision still lies with the business, but the procurement takes over and sends back saying that, you know, you qualified 3 agencies to work on a certain project, which means that as business, technically, I'm okay to work with any of the 3, while I still may have my preference, right? So there's a process also that we are following. So I've qualified 3, and as procurement, he's told me that this is your lowest bidder, this is your second lowest bidder, and this is your third lowest.
L1, L2, L3.
L1, L2, L3. If I need to work with an L2 or an L3, I need to first of all justify that what makes L2 and L3, and actually there's something called as partner preference documents that we go into signing. It is about cost stops and it is about budget cuts, right? So that is one process that we are following day in, day out. Secondly, to work with a new partner on a higher cost is a very difficult point to stand in front of your CFO and convince. You've been working with a partner for 5 years, 2 years, who's giving you the best cost, but you want to work with somebody new who's higher in cost. On what base? And like I told Reema, the fact is that
Be L1, L2, L3. Only one idea.
So he's saying they choose the idea they find the best, they share that with 3 agencies. And
No,
then
that's not what he said.
guys, give a round of applause if you think that's true.
But that's what I'm saying, that no 2 concepts can be the same. No matter how much you love one from the other, you cannot compare them in price.
as a business, you don't have an opportunity to just choose one. You don't have the liberty. You have to choose top 2 to 3.
Reema, let me jump in here. I've done a couple of pitches. I've screwed up those pitches. I've not got the business with Karan. To be very fair, I think BMW does a fantastic process. I think it's very. Let me answer. I know where you're coming from.
Ensuring we get the next one.
No, I don't. That's not the point. The point is basically they shortlist. What I understood is they shortlist 2 or 3 agencies based on design. Like for example, let's talk about. As a concept. Now none of them are same, but they all 3 qualify to be executed. So
I understand, Navneet, but when we put forward our best, we'll put forward our best, doesn't matter price. So it's about the creativity and the concept and not the price.
That's the point.
The formula is not you keep putting money and you keep getting the best, right?
Yeah.
That's the simplest way to do it. That's not the
I think even we should hear Rahul's point of view also. He's been.
Creativity cannot be determined by price, right? That's all I'm trying to say. Rahul, what's your call on
Let's
this?
understand HP's
I feel like
point of view.
Do you talk the same language to the vendors you work with?
Yeah, I heard जब events वाले इधर आते हैं तो बदल जाते हैं. Anyways. Okay, so I'll tell you, like, I mean, it's a perfect world scenario, but in all American companies, you see this, there is a process of registration. The idea of doing that is so that you'll commit to a certain company, a certain business, and get certain services. Otherwise, it doesn't make a profit sense to, doing on one-off events for whatever it is. But I think the best way to approach HP or any other IT company is to understand the pain points of the business and go back with what you think is a pitch. And that's what I was talking in the beginning as well. It is not about that you have to go and buy a social agency or be a social agency. It is about understanding. Like I said, SMB is a pain point, right? Digital convergence is a pain point, right? What is the pain point of that thing that you go and you say, okay, guys, you must be working in your day-to-day life on X, Y, Z things. We've understood your business, or give me a problem or a pain or whatever it is, right? And we think there is a solution that, hear us. There might be a chance, and we've done it to social agencies and activation agencies as well, where they say, okay, idea is yours. I can't take your IP and give it to anybody else. We are all busy in the daily rut of just moving to the next problem, solving the next day, next month, next week. If you come up with a larger problem, guys, look, this is what has happened, or this is what we think you can bring a solution to you, that's the best way to enter to a company. That is the best way, right? And I think at this point of a time, 99% of the event agencies, at least I work with, do not have that division or DNA right now in them. They're all working on a brief. They are not working on a business problem proactively versus that. So I think that's a difference.
Are the company open to accept those ideas? I'll give you one big example. We've been doing, I don't know if anybody has seen, we do the mobile brand studio. It's a showroom on wheels which we took to 100 towns. It wasn't a brief rolled out ever. I can name the agency, RCNM, actually proactively came in one day and presented this 50-feet trailer with the mobile showroom because we were expanding in tier 2, tier 3 towns and we didn't have showrooms. We were doing these upcountry events which were not of the level of how a BMW showroom or a studio should look like. They proactively came up and actually presented. There was no pitch. It was single sourced. It went into a legal battle internally. There was a problem, but we fought it out. But taking from Rahul's this thing, that this was also executed by us and it's still on.
My question.
Make us look good inside, right? You are the guys who do all the hard work, make us look good inside. And if you have a good idea, that'll help both of us and the company itself. Why not?
My question is to Karan. Karan, we come from Chandigarh, which is a very small market. You can say tier 3 cities.
I belong to Chandigarh.
Okay, that's great. So let's catch up someday. So we have been working with the automobile. We have been working for the automobile company since 2010, but we didn't have the opportunity to work with BMW because you don't have office in in Chandigarh. So even I have tried pitching in Gurgaon office. I think that is now shifted to some other location. So the companies like us, what should we do to get more business or any business from companies like BMW whose office is in Gurgaon?
So I think that we need to. While we don't have offices, but we do have dealers across the country, and the dealers are equally involved in marketing, and because it's ultimately a business that they are running, it's marketing governed by BMW in Gurgaon. So I suggest if you're really keen to start, firstly I would suggest we should start from where our retail outlet is, because that is where the need of, and you understand that market. So I'm more than happy to actually help you connect to local dealers, and because dealers have enough and more marketing spends that they're doing, and especially experiential. Because again, for Chandigarh, towns around Chandigarh is very important. The only way to reach that is events and experiences. So I suggest start small, and then maybe we talk and we see what we can do, because we are also, being in Delhi, we are looking at partners who are based in Delhi and Bombay only from a communication perspective, from a logistics perspective, I'm being very honest, we do want to work with partners who are based out of these metro cities because we have our core business there.
The other thing is when you talk about dealers, so when we want to associate ourselves with the dealers, there are some dealers who doesn't pay, right, after getting the work done. So this is a true. We need to. This is a fact. So we need to understand that.
No.
Because I know the dealer.
I won't say there is an
the
issue.
name. Yeah.
I think it's not about a BMW dealer or anybody dealer. It's about
Everybody's.
you know,
I'm not generally. Yeah, I'm not
it
commenting
could
on
be any dealer.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay. Even if it's a BMW dealer, it's fine. But the fact is that is true. But can I do something about it? Maybe not.
I'm
But
just looking at the opportunity.
no, but there is a relationship that you build, and once you start churning in work and business, it's not something that you don't, that they're sitting on your money for years and years. There is a delay. So you need to actually form a SOP or a modus operandi of how you want to approach a certain business, right? If you want to follow that I'm not going to work without XYZ, then you have to stick to it at the cost of losing business. So I think there is that issue. We sitting over here are also sorting these issues locally, but it is actually something which is beyond our control at this point.
So here is a perfect example, right? A small agency from a local agency, know Chandigarh very well, wants to pitch for a business. The calls that we get is, hi, we are so-and-so. We are from an X event management agency. We want to come and like to meet you and show our credentials. The second thing is, hi, we are calling from Chandigarh. We have an access to 1,000 HNIs, right? And we believe we have a perfect idea for you to kind of just completely, but you have to work hard, because if you're there for giving me sound light and backdrop, guess what? Everybody can, right? That's a difference of thinking that you've been in, saying the fact that, okay, you've got this problem, I've got a solution, let's meet. Different conversations altogether.
Rahul, just to add, I started this company in 2010, and my first client was HP India. So.
Okay. Okay, guys. Okay.
My question is all up to the ideas and pitch and everything. Is a straight thing is from a regional market perspective. Now we have seen many companies are enrolling the regional companies also nationally because of the cost factor. So is this happening with the HP, or it is going to be immersive in the future?
Second is, it doesn't matter you are enrolled or not. If you have a good idea, I always have a way to collaborate you with somebody, add a social and then other things around it, and say, okay, let's do it. Maybe, for example, you have a best idea for Navaratras. Maybe you have a best idea for Durga Puja. Maybe you have a best idea for Onam, right? And because you know that market, nobody else can compete that.
My question is not for the idea. The question is about the L1, what Karan was talking. Ultimately, the L1, any corporate sees if it is a regional company, if it is a national company. Now, seeing the cost factor, every company has a cost deduction also. And many companies we are seeing like a Panasonic. So now they are shutting down regional operations and they are getting regional agencies to the national board, and they are getting their operations, dealer meets, launches, everything from the regional market. Is this going to be with the many companies in the future, or how about the HP? It will be.
At least at India level, it will be consolidated, because as more and more budgets are getting decreased, XYZ, they want efficiencies, they want ROI over a period of time, to a level where some of the bigger companies are even now doing it regionally.
Exactly.
Microsoft and all that, they used to be India spend and all that, now.
I think. Okay, so, summing this up is that I think worldwide, we are all aware of the fact that worldwide there is a crisis going on, and we are all in the middle of it all. And the game changers here will be that how proactive we are. And we need to stop complaining about the fact that we are L1, L2, L3, because there are agencies who are actually going in with their ideas and winning the pitches without being an L1, L2, L3. I think that is going to be the game changer. And of course, I think I've said this several times, that when an opportunity strikes your door, it's important to give it a bear hug. And you know, there are opportunities here in education, there's the money banks right here with British Council, they have BMW, and we have HP, and we have so many other opportunities like this which we don't capture. And I think that would be the game changer for us, and that is the only way we will expand our business opportunities with these guys in the experiential industry. Thank you very much, guys, for being here.